Hello, and thank you for joining me for today's video, which is how to double Dutch brioche. Double Dutch is actually when you work both rows, the DC row and the LC row, light color and dark color at the same time. So you're not working one row of that and then the other row, you're actually working at the same time. Now how I'm going to do it is I'm gonna throw with my right hand the DC and I'm gonna work continental with my left hand. Start by showing how to do continental with LC. Okay, so that all the order of the movements that we do is clear. So first stitch is always a knit one, and then the slip-on yarn over, so I go from behind the yarn with the right needle and I slip one, and then I knit the next stitch. And again, the yarn over is actually the needle going behind and the yarn over and bark. Slip one, bark. Slip one yarn over, bark. Slip one yarn over, bark until the end of the row. And now I'm gonna work DC with my right hand. So this is gonna be throwing DC. Okay, so the first one is a slip one. Now I bring the yarn to the front and barb. Slip one, bring the yarn to the front, that's the slip one yarn over and barb. Slip one yarn over and barb. Slip one yarn over and barb until the end of the row. And now I'm going to show you how to work both yarns together. So actually combining LC and DC work at the same time simultaneously. So I'm going to hold LC yarn as the continental yarn on my left hand, and DC yarn is going to be the throwing one in the right. Okay, and I start always, that's a plain knit stitch with LC. And actually, I'm gonna, yeah, okay, it's fine. You see, so here already I have this thing. I'm gonna bring the yarn to the front above LC, just like this. Okay, and now I'm going to go with the needle. It's going to be a barb. So actually I go like this with the needle, and I'm gonna barb through the LC yarn as well, like this. So actually the yarn over was made kind of on the spot, but it's not really a yarn over, and that this is why it's not really the same gauge. The gauge can change between your actual brioche work, how you do it like one row at a time or one color at a time, than this. I'm gonna show it soon later and that you will maybe understand. Okay, so now I'm going to bark with Elsie. And I'm going to bring the yarn forward, so that's the yarn over with DC. And see, I brought both yarns, or the yarn, to the front, and I'm gonna barb through this. So you see, this is the yarn over, what I'm creating here with Elsie. And because it's not a full yarn over, that can change the gauge. Okay, and I bark with Elsie. So the whole point is always to bring DC yarn to the front and then knit in front of LC yarn. Okay, so I'm bringing the yarn to the front and then I go and I knit also through the LC yarn. Yeah, once you get the hang of it, it becomes much more simple. That's, of course, before you start to do the increases and decreases. That's also making things a bit complicated. And last stitch, I'm gonna barb with DC. And then before I knit the last stitch, don't forget to bring the yarn to the wrong side, DC yarn to the wrong side of the work, and then knit the last stitch so that DC is left there on the wrong side or on the dark color side. Now, when I turn the work, I always like to have also here LC yarn on my left as the continental, because then actually LC is always the first to be worked, and because it's on the left, it's easier to see it. Okay, so I purl the first stitch, and then I bring DC to the back, and I knit through both stitches, so both yarns. So I go into this bark behind LC and I knit. So that's the LC is the yarn over, actually imitating the yarn over. Okay, and now I bring DC to the front and I barb with LC, and then I go again behind those two, this one LC yarn and bark. Bring DC to the front. So here I bring DC to the front straight after I work the bark and barb, and then work behind LC, bring DC to the front, barb, bring the yarn DC to the, sorry, don't bring it to the front, it's already created the yarn over correctly. Okay, so I continue to work like this. That's it. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, please subscribe to my channel. Follow me on Instagram. I'm always updating on Instagram everything I do, if it's my Ravelry patterns and if it's my videos. So that's the best way to follow me on Instagram. And that's it. Hope to see you soon. And if you haven't checked out my brioche fixes videos, check it out. I'm gonna put a link right here. And that's it. See you around. Bye bye.